I'm really tired right now. Uh, Last night was the first time I stayed up till like 6 a.m. in the morning in like 6 months. Not a good thing to do anymore. Whatever. I guess I was just really excited about stuff, like on the internet. Yeah. So I just got back from a YAB meeting, a Youth Advisory Board meeting. And it's hosted by, or part of ILP, Independent Living Program. So I thought I'd get inspired and talk about my upbringing, because ILP has a lot to do with helping foster care youth transition into adulthood and college and things like that. And in fact, I am a foster care youth, even though I really don't feel like it a lot of the time. So I'll start from the beginning. I was born on November 19th, 1989, and I was born in this little tiny town in Northern California, Weaverville, which is actually really funny because back when I was a little kid, I used to remember watching this Nickelodeon show on it was called Wienerville, and I always would get confused. So I would always say, I'm born from Weaverville. I'm born from Wienerville. So, yeah, weird. So Weaverville is really small, I guess. But right after I was born, I was sent to Sacramento because I was born with gastroschisis and ended up in San Jose at the Santa Clara, I believe Santa Clara Kaiser Hospital, which is now, it shut down. They don't use it. They closed it, and now they're using a whole new one. I think they renamed it to Kaiser San Jose. Either way, it's nice, but it's my home is gone. Okay. And I was born with gastroschisis, which in layman's terms, for whatever reason, genetic, or because my parents took drugs, my mom didn't do the best things when she was pregnant with me. I was born with my intestines outside of my body. They developed fully, but they ended up on the outside of me. So by the time I came out of the womb, they were pretty much dead, unfortunately. The doctors ended up having to remove pretty much all of it except for maybe 3 feet, something like that. Not enough to absorb food with. So I ended up on total parental nutrition through an IV, and for up until I was 18, I just got taken off officially in November, which is almost 6 months. And I haven't had to be on since. I've been able to eat on my own and absorb everything. And actually, strangely enough, up to when I was 14 or 15, I really didn't eat a lot of food. When I was younger than 10, I didn't eat food at all, really, except take little mouse bites out of little saltine crackers. There's this thing about people who have gastroschisis where they love salt. They're addicted to it, and I definitely was addicted to salt. When I was little, I used to love those big fat hard pretzels, and I wouldn't eat the pretzel at all, but I'd take the salt off and eat it, or I'd eat the salt, lick the salt off of it, and then throw the pretzel away, which wastes so much food, but I feel bad about it now. I'm weird like that. And then when I was in middle school, I was addicted to sunflower seeds. They're like cigarettes or something. Like, I went through a bag a day of these David cigarettes things. Those are the best kind. They're so delicious, but thankfully my addiction's gone. I have other vices now. I'm such a nerd. Okay. So I didn't eat a whole lot, and I don't know why that was. I guess it's because when I was born, no one really forced me to eat because, I was always full from the nutrition I was already getting because of my medical condition. So, thankfully, the TPN I no longer need, and I am eating on my own. I still have trouble with food sometimes, unfortunately, but I'm doing my best to keep my weight up and eat on my own. Happen to love stuff like, the great thing about me is the doctors want me to eat the worst food. Like, they say, oh yeah, eat so much junk food because I don't want to lose weight. Your immune system's worse when you lose weight, and you're more susceptible to getting sick, which isn't a good thing for me. So I spent the first 4 years of my life in the hospital, and when I knew my parents like up until I was like 4 or 5, really well, not well, no, but they were in my life, and they would take me home sometimes. I'd be released from the hospital, and they would end up they really didn't take good care of me at all. I guess one time, according to my grandparents, they came over and they found me lying in my own waste as a baby. So basically, whenever I went over to live with them, my parents again, my actual genetic parents, I would always come back to the hospital sick again, or I'd have an IV infection, and every time you have an IV infection, if they can't fix it, then they have to replace it surgically, and the vein that they used prior with your last IV isn't really a viable vein anymore. The whole reason why, and I did end up getting that, I had an intestinal transplant October 2nd, 2008 at 3 a.m. in the morning, not because my medical condition was really life-threatening. It wasn't for most of my life. It only became kind of life-threatening once I got to like 12 or 13, and I had used up all my veins for IV use. And if this particular last IV that I had, and I actually still have it, but I don't need it anymore, thankfully, if this particular IV that I had occluded or got a really bad infection and they had to take it out, well, there wouldn't really be, they'd have to really search hard to find another vein, and I guess they could do it, but I'd probably have to go through a lot of pain and unnecessary hospitalization, and if it wasn't a viable vein, I wouldn't get enough nutrition. Even if I were eating by mouth fully, my body wouldn't be able to absorb all the nutrients through my intestines. So I did end up getting the transplant, thankfully, and now I'm almost normal, kind of, although I say I'll never be normal. I'll continue this in the next video because it's getting close to the cutoff time for YouTube. So, see you in the next video.